Let's start at the beginning, because to understand Zionism, you have to understand why the Jewish question existed long before modern politics. Jewish identity is deeply rooted in the Hebrew Bible, especially the book of Genesis. Written over hundreds of years, it tells a story of one God, one people, and a promised land. But history didn't unfold neatly. The Jewish people lived in that land under constant pressure from the Assyrian, Babylonian, Persians, Greeks, and Romans until exile have become permanent. What followed was nearly 2,000 years of Jewish life in the diaspora. For those of you in Rio Linda, that means that people have been dispersed from their homeland. I had to look it up. Jews lived scattered across Christian and Muslim lands, sometimes protected, often persecuted, always minorities. Their main shared anchor was religion and memory, not territory. But by the 18th and the 19th century, most Jews lived in Europe. Enlightenment ideas promised something new: assimilation. The idea was simple: become a citizen of a modern nation state, blend in, and discrimination would just fade away. Some Jews embraced this and others didn't, and history soon showed the limits of that hope. By the late 1800s, anti Semitism wasn't disappearing, it was intensified. Pogroms in Eastern Europe and political anti Semitism in the West convinced some Jews that assimilation has failed. From that realization came a new idea. Maybe Jews, like other nations, need a state of their own. That idea has become Zionism. The problem was location. Zionism focused on Palestine, the biblical homeland of that land was already inhabited by Arab Palestinians. From day one, Zionism carried an unavoidable conflict. One man brought Zionism into global politics was Theodor Herzl. Shocked by anti-Semitism in Europe, he argued that Jews needed a homeland not just for safety, but for dignity as well. His vision wasn't religious, it was nationalist. But most Jews opposed him. Assimilationists feared backlash. Religious Jews believed only God could restore the land. Others thought Zionism would actually make anti-Semitism worse, which what we see kind of today. Still, Herzl pushed forward. 1897, he organized the first Zionist Congress. Carefully choosing words, he said the goal was home in Palestine, not a state. Hoping to reduce opposition, he tried diplomacy, not secret settlement. He lobbied emperor, sultans, and great powers. None of them committed. Herzl died in 1904 without any success, but he left behind something very critical and crucial: an organized international Zionism movement. Jewish immigration to Palestine continued slowly. Tel Aviv was founded in 1909 as the first all-Jewish city. Many Zionists were socialists, creating collective farms called kibbutzim. Early relations with Arabs were tense, but mostly limited. That changed around 1910, when Arab resistance began to organize. Initially as part of a broader Arab nationalism, World War I changed everything. The Ottoman Empire sided with Germany, and Britain suddenly mattered. A Zionist leader named Chaim Weizmann. He gained British favor by helping their war effort through chemistry. That access led to political influence, especially with British leaders sympathetic to Zionism. At the same time, Zionism itself was changing. Early Zionism was idealistic and universalist, imagining coexistence and equality. But over time, it had become more particularist, more focused on Jewish power and survival, less concerned with Arab consent. That shift hardened with figures like Vladimir Jabotinsky. He argued Arab opposition would never disappear and that Zionism must advance behind an iron wall. Using force is necessary. Militant group emerged, violence escalated. After World War I, Britain took control of Palestine, trying to balance Jewish immigration and Arab opposition. Britain satisfied no one. Riot erupted, investigations followed, the restriction tightened, frustration grew on all sides. By the 90s, David Ben Gurion rose to prominence. A socialist nationalist, he pursued policies like Hebrew only labor, economically excluding Arabs. At the same time, Hitler's rise sent waves of Jewish refugees to Palestine, dramatically changing demographics and intensifying the conflict. Arab resistance exploded into revolt. Britain responded brutally. Then came the Peel Commission, which proposed partition. Two states, Arab rejected it completely. Zionists were divided by increasingly pragmatic. In 1939, Britain shut the door almost entirely with the White Paper limiting Jewish immigration just as the Holocaust loomed. Zionists now saw Britain as an enemy. Underground militia turned against British rule. After World War II, Britain was exhausted. It handed the problem to the United Nations. The UN proposed partition again. Jews would get just over half of the land. Arabs rejected it outright. The vote passed anyway. Civil war followed. When Britain withdrew in May 1948, Jewish leaders narrowly voted to declare independence. David Ben Gurion announced the state of Israel within hours. Neighboring Arab armies invaded. That moment, 1948, marks both the birth of Israel and the beginning of the Arab Israeli War. What this history shows is a simple but uncomfortable. Zionism emerged from real fear, real persecution, and real politics. But it collided with another people's homeland. Over time, idealism gave way to power politics, British imperial policy, and European anti Semitism. Arab nationalism and global geopolitics all fed this fire. The conflict didn't begin in 1948, it was decades in the making. It is roots that are still shaping the world today. If you have enjoyed this video, please feel free to share, like, and comment and do all that good stuff. And until the next video, thank you for watching.